said that he had been driving with two other men who were in the car. They got into some sort of argument. Ultimately, he was shot several times in the back and in the head.
Dumped his body on the side of the road. Like, how'd he do that to him?
I couldn't believe that my brother was dead. Everything stopped, man. My world was crushed. It just ripped something out my heart, man.
I don't think we would have made it if he wouldn't have passed away.
If Kevin would have been in No Limit, it would have been a different No Limit. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, because Kevin was like P's other brain.
We all know how Master P made history in the entertainment industry, launching No Limit Records and dropping countless chart-topping singles and albums. The label went on to sell over 100 million records, cementing its place in hip-hop history. But what if I told you a lot of that success might not have happened if it weren't for his brother Kevin Miller?
I couldn't believe that my brother was dead. Everything stopped, man. My world was crushed. It just ripped something out my heart, man.
For those who might not know, Kevin Miller is the least talked about of the Miller brothers. The lineup includes Percy Robert Miller, better known as Master P, Corey Miller, aka C. Emder, and Vishon Miller, better known as Silk the Shocker. Silk, the youngest of the four, once said in an interview that he truly believed if it weren't for Kevin's death, the trio might not have made it out of the infamous Calliope projects.
I don't think we would have made it if he wouldn't have passed away.
Even Moby Dick, a key figure at No Limit, has said Kevin's influence could have taken No Limit Records to an even greater level. According to him, Kevin was like the other half of Master P's brain, bringing a level of intelligence and creativity that could have shaped No Limit into something even more legendary.
And if Kevin would have been in No Limit, it would have been a different No Limit. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, because Kevin was like P's other brain.
But sadly, all of that potential was cut short. In 1990, Kevin was tragically emdered in a brutal act of violence, and his body was dumped on the side of the road. His death shook the Miller family to its core and became a pivotal moment in their lives. There's so much more to unpack, so let's dive deeper. The morning of September 14th, 1990, started out just like any other for 22-year-old Kevin Miller. It was a typical day in New Orleans, and Kevin was riding around with two of his friends. Nobody knows exactly where they were heading, but what started as an ordinary drive took a deadly turn. Somewhere along the ride, a heated argument broke out between Kevin and one of the other passengers. To this day, no one really knows what sparked the tension, but it quickly spiraled out of control. In a shocking and cold-blooded move, the man sitting in the back seat pulled out a gun and fired multiple shots, hitting Kevin in the head and back.
They said that he had been driving with two other men who were in the car. They got into some sort of argument. Ultimately, he was shot several times in the back and in the head.
The situation turned grim in an instant. Kevin, the strong and resilient young man his family knew and loved, was gone. His so-called friends, now panicked and desperate to cover their tracks, made a horrifying decision. They dumped Kevin's lifeless body along the side of the road, near an Interstate 10 exit in St. John the Baptist Parish.
They dumped his body on the side of the road. Like, how'd he do that to him?
It was a quiet, desolate stretch of highway, perfect for their attempt to hide what they had done. Days would pass before anyone knew the truth about Kevin's tragic end. Born in 1968 to Josie and Percy Miller Sr., Kevin's early years were anything but easy. Growing up in the Calliope projects, a place known for its poverty and violence, meant facing challenges most people couldn't imagine. The Millers often struggled to make ends meet, with even basic necessities sometimes out of reach. But despite their hardships, Kevin's family found strength in their bond. Kevin was the second oldest of 5 siblings, and alongside Percy, Jermaine, Corey, and Vishon, he grew up navigating the harsh realities of their neighborhood. Life in the Calliope wasn't easy, but the Miller family stuck together, leaning on each other for support. Kevin was known for his resilience and his unwavering commitment to his family. He was the kind of person who always put his loved ones first, even when times were tough. In a place where survival often came before everything else, Kevin's strength and determination stood out. As one of the oldest siblings, Kevin Miller was a pivotal figure in his family, especially after their parents divorced. He naturally stepped into the role of a protector and supporter for his younger brothers, who would later become household names in the world of hip-hop. Corey C. Emder, Vishon, Silk the Shocker. In a place like the Calliope projects, where opportunities were scarce and danger lurked around every corner, Kevin became a beacon of hope and determination for his family. Growing up in the Calliope projects wasn't easy for the Miller family. The environment was harsh, riddled with poverty and crime. but Kevin found ways to bring moments of joy and camaraderie. Childhood for Kevin was filled with basketball games on cracked courts, the sounds of kids laughing in the streets, and the ever-present pull of street life. Despite the struggles, he was a steady presence in his siblings' lives, someone they could look up to and count on when things got tough.
Kev was like our big dog. You know, Kev used to bring us everywhere. We go play 4-man basketball and we wouldn't lose. You know, Kev was good. You know.
It wasn't long before he became part of a local group known as the Tuesday Crew. Among his peers, Kevin earned a reputation as a natural leader, someone who could navigate the treacherous streets of New Orleans with confidence and finesse. The Calliope projects were a proving ground for Kevin, but they were also a trap. From an early age, he found himself caught up in street life, just like so many others around him. He and his friends started small, breaking into cars and stealing. These petty crimes were seen as a rite of passage, an initiation into a world where survival often depended on bending or outright breaking the rules. Over time, Kevin's reputation in the streets began to grow. While he wasn't known for being a violent enforcer or someone who caught bodies, there was an unspoken understanding about him. Kevin wasn't someone to be trifled with. He carried himself with a quiet confidence and a demeanor that demanded respect. People in the Calliope knew better than to cross him.
Hey, Kev was a fool, man. Kev wanted to boot up. Like, Kev would go anywhere you would looking at me. You know, he was a fool, but you know.
Kevin's street smarts were unmatched. He had an uncanny ability to read situations and people, which allowed him to move through the streets with a level of ease that others envied. He wasn't the kind of person who looked for trouble, but he knew how to handle himself when it came his way. Kevin had that rare combination of charm, intelligence, and grit that made him stand out in an environment where only the toughest survived. In the months leading up to Kevin Miller's tragic passing, life for the Miller brothers was heading in different directions. Master P and Silk the Shocker had already taken steps to leave the harsh streets of New Orleans behind, relocating to California to chase new opportunities and dreams. Corey Miller, who would later be known as C. Emder, had enlisted in the military, looking for structure and a way out of the chaos. That left Kevin as the only brother still holding things down back in their hometown. Despite the physical distance, the bond between the brothers remained strong. They stayed in touch, their relationships unshaken by the miles that separated them. Kevin had been thinking about leaving New Orleans and reuniting with his brothers in California for a while. The streets were only growing more dangerous, and Master P had been urging him to leave the Calliope projects for good. Master P had already begun laying the groundwork for what would eventually become the No Limit Empire, and he wanted Kevin to be part of it. According to those close to the family, Kevin's plans to join his brothers in California were delayed for reasons that remain unclear. Tragically, that delay cost him his life. It's been said that just one day before Kevin's Emder, Master P called him from California, practically begging him to come out west as soon as possible. It was a heartfelt plea from an older brother who knew the dangers Kevin was facing in the streets.
Before he left, Kevin had called and P was asking Kevin, come on out here, man. He was begging him to come out here.
That conversation, unfortunately, would be one of the last they ever had. The next day, Kevin's life was cruelly cut short, leaving his family and community reeling. The details of Kevin's funeral are scarce, but those who attended remember it as an incredibly somber and heartbreaking occasion. In an interview, Moby Dick, a producer who worked with No Limit Records, recalled just how difficult the service was, particularly for Master P. For Master P, Kevin's death was more than just a loss. It was a wake-up call. The grief hit him like a tidal wave, but instead of drowning in it, he used it as fuel. Reflecting on that tragic time, Master P once said, "When my brother got hit, I had to change my life. I had to do something different to get my family out of the ghetto." Kevin's death became a defining moment for Percy Miller. It ignited a relentless determination in him to break free from the cycle of poverty and violence that had surrounded them in the Calliope projects.
When Kevin got P had enough sense to say, you know what, I have to come up with a game plan. And so he came up with a game plan to save everybody.
I wanted to give my brothers something positive to do, something bigger than the streets.
This devastating loss didn't just shake the Miller family to its core. It also became a recurring theme in Master P's music, where he paid tribute to his brother while expressing the deep anguish that came with such a tragedy. In the song When They Gone, from his 1995 album 99 Ways to Die, Master P poured his grief into the lyrics. Lines like "Said he never die, but now he's 6 feet deep with the tombstone, oh my god, my brother's gone, and I don't even effing think I can go on," captured the raw pain of losing Kevin.
Said he never died, but now he's 6 feet deep with a tombstone. Oh my God, my brother's gone.
The heartbreak and emotional burden of Kevin's death echoed throughout the song, offering listeners a glimpse into the depth of the family's sorrow. Silk, the Shocker, Kevin's younger brother, later shed light on the chilling details surrounding the Emder. According to Silk, Kevin was betrayed by someone he had been wary of but had still allowed into his circle. "I think it was a friend that he didn't really totally trust," Silk explained. "They took him for a ride. The guy he didn't like sat in the back seat, and basically they shot him in the back of the head like 4 times. Kevin's death not only left a void in the Miller family, but also became a driving force behind their professional successes. For Master P, the grief fueled a relentless determination to honor his brother's memory. He channeled his pain into creating something transformative, the No Limit movement. This wasn't just about making music. It was about breaking free from the cycle of poverty and creating a legacy that would outlast the streets that had taken Kevin. The aftermath of Kevin's Emder sparked an immediate police investigation, and it didn't take long for the authorities to zero in on 2 primary suspects: Kenneth Williams, a teenager, and 21-year-old Melvin Radcliffe. Both men were acquaintances of Kevin and had been with him on the day of the crime. The case took a dramatic turn when Radcliffe, overcome with fear and guilt, decided to cooperate with the police. He confessed to his role, fearing that Kenneth Williams might implicate him, or worse, retaliate. Radcliffe's confession led law enforcement to recover Kevin's body and arrest both suspects. During the legal proceedings, Williams was identified as the shooter and faced harsher penalties for his direct involvement in Kevin's Emder. Radcliffe, who had acted as an accessory, received a lesser sentence for his cooperation. Both men were ultimately sent to prison for their roles in the crime. For the Miller family, seeing the perpetrators brought to justice was some form of closure, but it could never erase the pain of losing Kevin. Silky the Shocker has often spoken about how Kevin's death shaped his life and perspective. Over the years, he has offered insight into what happened to the 2 men responsible for his brother's Emder. According to Silk, both perpetrators served their time, but their lives took very different paths afterwards. He revealed that one of them had since passed away, while the other turned his life around and was reportedly living a better life.
I think one of them may have passed away. I guess karma, maybe, I don't know. The other one, I think it's really funny. I think he's out, but he's doing something good with his life.
When asked how he would feel if he were to encounter the surviving perpetrator today, Silk's response reflected the maturity and growth that time had given him. It wouldn't be any animosity, he said, suggesting that he had come to terms with the tragedy and chosen to let go of some of the anger. However, Silk acknowledged that his older brothers, Master P and C. Emder, might not react as calmly.
I think originally it would have been all bad, but I think now how I operate in life, you know, we could probably figure it out, talk about it.
You think that P and C feel the same way?
That's a good question. Probably not so much.
Even though decades have passed since Kevin Miller's tragic death, his memory continues to have a profound influence on his family, especially Silk the Shocker. In late 2015, Silk took a moment to reflect on his brother's impact, sharing a deeply emotional tribute on Facebook. He wrote, "R.I.P. to my brother Kevin Miller. Although it's been a while since we lost you, it never goes away, even when you're trying to forget for a few. At the end of the day, you were my inspiration to do better. I have to admit, even though I witnessed and saw the demise, I always thought they would come back. Didn't quite understand, but when losing you, I swore, talking to mom, like, when's Kevin coming back? I found out later there wasn't no coming back. Made a decision to do it for you. Thanks, bro. Love you and will always miss you." This heartfelt post wasn't just a nod to Kevin's memory. It was a testament to the lasting impression he left on those who loved him. Silk's words painted a picture of the emotional journey he and his family have been on since Kevin's passing. They've faced heartbreak, but also found strength in Kevin's memory, using his life and untimely death as fuel to strive for better lives. Silk wasn't the only one in the Miller family to honor Kevin publicly. His brothers have also taken to social media over the years to keep Kevin's spirit alive. In 2024, C. Emder posted a moving Instagram tribute on what would have been Kevin's birthday. His words were filled with raw emotion and a longing for the brother they lost too soon. "Happy birthday to my big brother Kevin Miller. Rest in paradise. I love you and miss you. You were the truest I ever met. These are the realest words I ever spoke. We miss you out here. I'm going to see you when I get there." This kind of enduring love and pain shows just how deeply Kevin was loved and how much his absence is still felt. Despite his life being tragically cut short, Kevin's memory has become a cornerstone for the Miller family, inspiring them to achieve greatness while honoring his legacy.
My dad and his brothers talked about Uncle Kevin every day. They all tatted him on their arm, and they never let his name die. He's here with us in spirit.
Kevin's loss was a turning point that pushed the Miller brothers to break out of the hardships of the Calliope projects and make a name for themselves. And while Kevin wasn't there to see it, his influence was deeply embedded in their drive and success. Master P, in particular, carried Kevin's memory into every venture he touched, turning the pain of his loss into a powerful motivator. Master P's achievements after Kevin's death are nothing short of extraordinary. He didn't just dominate the music industry with No Limit Records, he completely redefined what it meant to be an entrepreneur in hip-hop. Under his leadership, No Limit became one of the most influential enterprises in the genre, with record-breaking sales and a legacy that still resonates today. But Master P didn't stop at music. He was one of the first rappers to truly understand the retail potential of the industry and used his earnings to build a financial empire. From the profits of No Limit Records, he diversified into a wide range of industries. His investments spanned everything from real estate and stocks to toy manufacturing, clothing lines, telecommunications, and even gas stations. At one point, Master P's portfolio was so diverse it included a travel agency, a Foot Locker retail outlet, fast food franchises, a jewelry line, auto accessories, and more. His New Orleans-based real estate and property management company, PM Properties, alone controlled over 100 properties across the United States. Master P also made waves in sports management with No Limit Communications, a partnership with marketing expert Dwan Edgerton, which proved highly successful. According to Black Enterprise magazine, his company grossed an astonishing $110 million in revenue in 1998 alone. This kind of financial success wasn't just impressive, it was game-changing, inspiring countless other rappers to think beyond the music and dive into business ventures and investments. It was proof that hip-hop wasn't just about art and lifestyle. It could be a gateway to wealth building and entrepreneurship. But Master P didn't stop there. He continued to expand his empire with innovative ideas, including launching his own line of energy drinks called Make 'em Say Ugh, a nod to his iconic catchphrase and an example of how he turned his brand into a business machine. Historically, many rappers focused almost exclusively on the music and the glamour that came with being in the spotlight. They didn't give much thought to the business side of things, like ownership, distribution, and long-term financial planning. That all began to change in 1996 when Master P signed a groundbreaking distribution deal with Priority Records. This wasn't just any deal, it was a game changer. No Limit Records retained 100% ownership of their master recordings and secured an incredible 85% of the sales revenue, while Priority took just 15% in exchange for pressing and distributing the music. This arrangement wasn't just smart, it was revolutionary. It allowed Master P to make millions, not just in upfront sales, but in future profits from catalogs and reissues. It's a deal that many in the industry look back on as one of the most important moments in hip-hop business history. Master P's marketing strategies were just as innovative as his business deals. According to Wendy Day, CEO of the Rap Coalition, Master P had a whole marketing movement. He was the first person to market the way a corporate entity like IBM would market to their clientele. Unlike the traditional music industry approach of spending millions on flashy music videos and heavy radio play, Master P took a more grassroots, cost-effective route. He started out selling tapes from the trunk of his car, traveling from city to city, and making connections wherever there was potential demand for his music. To spread his sound, he would hand out free samples to people driving expensive cars in prominent neighborhoods, knowing that his music would get noticed. This street-level guerrilla marketing wasn't just clever, it was the foundation for the massive fan base that No Limit would eventually build. When the Priority deal came through, Master P ramped up his business model, focusing on a high-volume approach. He released albums as frequently as possible and made the No Limit brand more significant than the individual artists. Every album featured cross-promotion for other No Limit projects, and the branding was unmistakable, thanks to eye-catching pen and pixel graphics, mafia-inspired themes, and packaging that made the album stand out. Master P also made sure fans got their money's worth. While most albums at the time offered around 15 tracks, No Limit albums packed in 20 songs, giving fans more value and further building loyalty. He turned his artists into larger-than-life figures, almost like Marvel superheroes, which resonated with fans who saw them as more than just rappers. His marketing genius didn't stop with music. Master P cross-promoted his artists using movies, creating a synergy between the music and film projects under his brand. This approach tied everything together as one cohesive package, ensuring that No Limit's brand image was as much about the lifestyle and storytelling as it was about the music itself. The results spoke for themselves. No Limit Records sold over 75 million records, cementing its place as one of the most successful independent labels in history. Master P's strategies not only revolutionized the industry but also made him one of the wealthiest figures in hip-hop. In 1998, Master P ranked 10th on Forbes magazine's list of America's 40 highest-paid entertainers, with an estimated income of $56.5 million. By 2013, his net worth was estimated at $200 million, a testament to his ability to turn creative vision into financial success.